Welcome to LC Screen Talk. My name is Larry, and this is my review of Judy. Judy, meet Brittany. Brittany, meet Judy. Alright, now that we have the gay icon intros out of the way, let's go ahead and review the film. Judy is a biographical film that follows the final year in the life of famed actress and singer Judy Garland, as she tries to juggle the immense pressure of being a mother who has to tour for a living and the personal demons that have haunted her for her entire life. Now, I enjoy Judy Garland. However, I'm not completely versed in Judy Garland and her career. Of course, I know of her big roles, her famous moments, and I did know that unfortunately she was marred with a lot of personal issues that made up her fame as big as her professional achievements, much like my own queen here. But I didn't know much beyond that. I know she died young, but that's about it for me. So I was actually really intrigued by Judy from the trailers. Renee Zellweger was a little bit of a tough sell for me off the get-go, but after the buzz and everything coming out of these earlier screenings, I was excited to see what this film really did have to offer. And I've got to say, I really liked Judy. I thought it accomplished pretty much everything it set out to do pretty well. So let's go ahead and talk about those positives first. Well, I mentioned her as a potential negative in my opening. However, Renee Zellweger is amazing in this film. At a certain point, pretty early on, actually, I lost Renee Zellweger in the film and I just kind of saw an older Judy Garland. It just all faded away for me. I forgot the actress was even on the screen. She was that magnetic and wonderful in this movie. And what a great depth, strong understanding of the person she was portraying, as well as the icon and the performer, the star that she was portraying. And she nailed all of it just so perfectly. I really don't think, acting wise, that Renee Zellweger missed a single beat in this movie. She was so good. I also have to give a shout out to Jessie Buckley, who was really good in this film as well. She plays a supporting role here, but there's so much going on with this character without many actual lines of dialogue, without a whole lot of screen time. And I have to give a lot of that credit to Jessie Buckley and her performance. It was really deep and layered for such a small and thankless role. The film is also stunning. It is shot so beautifully. We get these big, beautiful wide shots, and then those close-ups really are effective. They're handled beautifully. Not only just the cinematography looks stunning, but the direction across the board I actually think was very well done. There's one aspect involved in directing that we'll touch on in the negatives, but overall I thought it was a really nicely directed film that really presented a very tragic story in a sympathetic way. I don't think this movie is out to lampoon Judy Garland and her character. It really kind of just presented what the final year of her life was like. And it turns out to be a really sad film, honestly, but it affected me. I really left feeling a lot. And I think part of that is that I am unfortunately really attracted to some of these troubled stars and their stories, and I have a really deep empathy with them, from Britney Spears to Marilyn Monroe, who I adore as well. And then getting this side of Judy Garland is just another example of that, and I really empathized strongly with this character, and I had to just sit there for a while because it was really heartbreaking and there's a lot to take in. But something really well done in this movie that usually I don't like and I think could have come across very heavy-handed was intercutting the flashbacks. They worked for me this time. It really added depth and layer to the story. It showed an earnestness to the filmmaking to me on depicting the full story of Judy Garland and making sure we didn't just see her as this manic crazy person without more context of what she went through and what her life was as a child star, and I thought it was really well done. And I just want to highlight a scene in here that really spoke to me, obviously, as one of my identities, is that I love how it presented Judy Garland's allyship and meaning to the LGBTQ community. That's actually one of the most impactful scenes in the entire film, is Garland with this same-sex couple, and their entire time together was just so nice, and it was really emotionally charged, and I thought it worked really well. But honestly, all of her small interactions with people worked really well. A good portion of that had to do with Renee Zellweger, obviously, because she just sold it so well. But I really enjoyed that we had those moments to really show the magneticism of this person and how she drew people in. So no matter what happened, her humor and her personable aspects drew everyone back in. That's why she was able to make these comebacks she did. What didn't work so well when it comes to Judy? Well, I have to talk about the one aspect in which Renee Zellweger did not shine. The only part of her performance that didn't quite work, and that was the vocals. I'm sorry, Renee. I know you can sing well enough, but this wasn't quite it. I know she was singing in a different octave than she's used to in her own voice to try to get the Judy sound, but and I don't think it was necessarily awful, but it certainly was not Judy Garland. This is the situation where I think we all would have been okay having Renee just lip sync to somebody else instead of lip sync to her own self in the movie, because you need it. I mean, when you're depicting Garland, an iconic voice like this, the voice is important, and we didn't get there. It was a little bit like, oh, alrighty then. I see why we waited so long to have you sing, but then we have you sing quite a bit, and it's like, oh, well, alrighty. Then I'll bounce over to the director, who I also said had one aspect that didn't work for me, and I will say the pacing is wonky through the middle of this film. Maybe it's the fact that we get into some sort of repetition in the middle with the events occurring, but I didn't really have a problem with that necessarily. It just felt like we started to drag, and then at the end, it felt like we were reaching. We know the ending is right here, but it just took a while to keep clawing our way to get to that ending. And then finally, I mentioned that it is a very heavy and sad film, pretty much all the way through. It's pretty sad, and I wish there was more levity. I don't need it being broken up all the time with, these crazy set pieces, but I wish maybe her humor had been brought out just a bit more, like directly with that humor. I wish we had more instances where we got to see her just shining brightly, particularly maybe even in her own personal life, the moments of just levity, to give the audience moments of levity. There were sparkles of it in there that's just enough to keep you going, but you leave kind of just like shell shocked and really sad. So even though we end on a triumphant note, the weight of 2 hours of a pretty sad film just kind of like weighs upon you. And though it's important to tell the true story of what actually happened and get that across, when dealing with this type of star, I don't know, I wish we had more of the shine in there. But overall, I was really affected by Judy. I thought it was actually very well done, and outside of a couple missteps, particularly the singing, I really think this did do justice to the end of this icon's life. A very sad ending, but something that felt truthful, honest, and ultimately pretty empathetic to its subject matter. And that was important for me. So, if you're a fan of Judy Garland, or if you're a fan of this era, I say go see Judy, and I would give it a full price ticket. I did really enjoy this film. Enjoy. Otherwise, if you're not prepared to sit through a pretty heavy, sad movie overall, then this is a rental. I still think you should check it out, but This isn't like a good time at the movies. You're not going to leave like jamming out Hustler style. Just know that you're going in for a more somber viewing experience, a more mellowed out viewing experience. I think you'll be great. So that is my review of Judy. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead, click like down below and subscribe to the channel so you are always up to date on our latest videos. Also, join in on the discussion. Are you excited to see Judy, or have you already seen it? If you have, what were your thoughts? Let me know either in the comment section down below or hit me up on Twitter. I love you all so much for your continued support. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.